126, 127. Very interesting things transpire. As I told you, part 1 of the book is really dealing with the exposition of the of the story, setting up everything you need to know. So really part 2 is dealing with Winston and Julia. And it's kind of like their honeymoon phase right now, okay? In the first chapter, she slips in the note, "I love you," that blows his mind. Second chapter, they go in the meadow and have political acts, right? That's what it says. It was a political act. Clever. And so anyways, they go, now it's dealing with the present day, back into culture, society. Remember, party members are not supposed to get together, and so they have to act normal. You see this in the news. It's not really news. Celebrities, who don't want to know that they're dating other celebrities or whatever, they're very coy about it. Some of them, they'll arrive separately and sit in the VIP section, then one person will leave early. You know what I mean? That type of thing. Imagine you had a locker partner or a really good, a person next to you in here. You have classes with them, next to them out there. You're actually dating, but you don't want anybody to know. That'd be kind of stressful, and you do certain things to make sure that, things were getting picked up, the vibe and stuff. But imagine now in Big Brother's culture, the paranoia. Look at what she does on the bottom of 127. If she judged that the coast was clear, she'd blow her nose when he approached. Otherwise, he was to walk past her without recognition. They thought about this. It's like in sports, like baseball. Huge baseball fan. Anybody watch the World Series? Unbelievable game last night. That was the best World Series game I've ever seen. Anyways, a baseball coach, they do this stuff. They do this. What does it mean? It means absolutely nothing until he hits what they call an indicator. That changes, and that's what it might rotate. It might be, his temple. So all of this is junk. The batter, the runner's like, okay, I'm not paying attention. Wait for him to touch his eye. Wait for him to touch his eye. The next thing I touch is the sign, whether it's bunt or steal or just different things. When I was in high school, when I wasn't pitching, I would sit next to the coach and I'd try to pick up the signs. He's going to bunt. How do you know? Well, I figured out the indicator. So I would try to steal signs and just process elimination, trying to figure out, well, I would bunt in this situation, paying attention to the signs. Then the next time, try to figure it out. It's kind of like reading a player in cards, that type of thing. But I always enjoyed doing that. Anyway, so she has her little signs. Okay, as they're walking close, she'll sneeze if it's cool. Otherwise, just go. Keep going. Don't draw attention or focus. Okay. Winston doesn't really think they're going to get away with it, does he? From the beginning, he said he's going to get caught. It's inevitable. They're going to get you now. They're going to get you months down the road, years down the road. It happens. You can't do anything about it. He shares that with her. He says, "We are dead." Right? Her response, "Not yet." Okay? The big thing that we have in these 2-3 chapters, the main focus, they have a lot of dialogue back and forth. We find out a lot of things about Julia. Mostly, up until now, it was she has dark hair and likes overalls, and he's attracted to her. That's it. Here we find out more about her personality. We find out what she thinks or what she doesn't think. How they do not necessarily agree on certain things. Okay, they make it early on seem like, oh, we're just perfect for each other. This is awesome, heavenly. But really, there's a gap. It's like when you see on the news, an 80-year-old man is marrying a 25-year-old girl. You're like, great, sure. Oh, we're soulmates. Sure you are. Of course. Of course. I guarantee they probably struggle for conversation. You know what I mean? He was alive for Kennedy. He was alive for space landing, Woodstock, all of these things. Maybe a war veteran. She experienced the first round of Melrose Place in the 90s. You know what I mean? I'm sure, unless she's just crazy educated, and of course this goes back and forth, there's Demi and Ashton, that type of thing. But you have these individuals that, can you really have an intellectual conversation? If she's crazy smart, he's crazy smart, sure. Okay? But we see a 15-year gap, roughly. I think that's what he says. I'm 39, 14, 15 years older, I think is what he says. And we see that gap. She wasn't around in the 50s and 60s. She wasn't there for the purges. She doesn't know anything other than Big Brother. Okay? That's important to understand. And he deals with that frustration. He goes into, and we'll find the page in a little bit, but he struggles trying to make her understand. It's like if I'm talking to somebody and I'm opinionated and you're opinionated, and as a teacher, I'm trying to get you to understand, no, I'm right. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you. But you're like, no, this is it. No, but you're wrong. You got to open your mind a little bit more. That type of thing. And so he's very, very frustrated. And you can see there's just kind of a little gap. They're not breaking up. This isn't a honeymoon's over type of thing. It's just them trying to learn a little bit about each other. And he's not really learning that, wow, we aren't intellectually synced up with each other. We still practice political acts, but we aren't together. Okay? Excuse me. Page 132. Winston shares with her about his wife, Catherine, and about how, their lovemaking, how it was not very enjoyable, and how she would act a certain way, and how she called it. Julia jumps in. Oh, our duty to the party. How did you know? Honey, I went to school too. That's how they were being indoctrinated. That was, you guys have health class here. You've had health class, probably some variation of health class in middle school. Okay, and not necessarily health class in elementary, but they taught you some basics. Imagine 1984 ladies being pushed in your head. It's not pleasurable. It's not fun. It's not this. It's your duty for the party. And if you grow up as a junior spy, you probably don't have to go too far to actually accept what they tell you. Your purpose is to serve the party. And so to be a spy, and all of a sudden you're like, no, you're not supposed to have sex. You're not supposed to do any of these things. They start learning that stuff. Now some of them, obviously, go, okay, yep, okay, no sex, got it, and then they go and do it. As she says in here, you can break, you got to keep the little rules, follow, keep your cover. We talked about keeping cover in here. Keep your cover so that you can go and do this stuff on the side. Because if somebody ever questions her, they're like, oh yeah, Julia's sleeping with this person, wait a minute, Julia? Anti-sex league, Julia, who does these fundraisers, who does all of these things? No. Doubt it. Okay? So that's part of the cover, and that's important because she plays these games in order to get away with it. We find out that she doesn't agree with the philosophies of Big Brother necessarily, but she's not going to do anything about it. Winston wants to do something about it. Yes, he's doing his political act, but that was his rebellion. That was the only way he could rebel early on. He said, I just want to have one of those moments. One of those moments of desire, since that was a thought crime. I just want one time. And he's having more time, as we see throughout this part 2. So in talking about his wife, he mentions a story about how they were at the top of a cliff, and they were looking over, and he had this idea to push her. He likes to have these violent thoughts, doesn't he? I mean, this is his wife. Remember what he wanted to do to Julia before he knew her name? All of those violent things. Okay? Well, he didn't know her. That's different. Oh, okay. Is it? He's married to this woman. Now, marriage there is not the same as our marriage, right? Okay, but in title, that's his wife he wanted to push off. What good would that have done, is what he says. I didn't do it. Just like he didn't do anything to Julia. Okay? But what's the point? What's the point? We're still going to get, oppressed and have all of these things, and life is still not going to be great. What is that going to solve? How is that going to make my life better by pushing her off? It's not. And we see their marriage dissolved earlier on, I believe it was, so when they decided they couldn't have kids or it wasn't working for whatever reason. Well, we're not. That's the only reason we're together. Let's separate. Okay. Very top of 136. We're not dead yet. Well, not physically, but 6 months, a year, 5 years? I'm afraid of death. You're young. You're blah, blah, blah. So long as human beings stay human, death and life are the same thing. Oh, rubbish. Which would you sooner sleep with, me or a skeleton? I think everybody knows the answer to that, because we don't want to be gross and skeletons and stuff. I'm alive. Feel me, touch me, I'm alive, I'm not dead yet. Don't live like you're a corpse. You want to be with me or a dead thing? Me, because I'm alive, you're alive. And so we see the back and forth about the future. And Winston, don't we want our heroes to be more optimistic and positive? Right? Not so, hey, this is great, we're having fun, but we're dead. They're going to get us. We'll still have fun and we'll see how much damage we can do before then, but they're going to get us. He said that from the beginning. But she doesn't want to hear it. She doesn't contradict him, doesn't make him change his statement. She doesn't try to convince him otherwise. She just says, stop whining, Winston. Just stop it. And we will have fun and enjoy our political acts. Chapter 5, 137. What's that? 4, excuse me. Yes, 4. We'll edit that out. So here we go. Cut. Chapter 4. Page 137. These next couple chapters, some more intrigue and discussion between the two leads. We find out more information about Mr. Charrington. We find out Winston's real inner thoughts and feelings pertaining to the apartment, which is vital. Okay? I'm not sure if it's happened yet, but there's going to be a metaphor put in play that compares Winston to that coral. Now, if Winston is the coral, then what is the glass in the real world? Winston is the coral that's encased in glass, right? The glass protects, shields, shelters the coral from Big Brother. So Winston is the coral. What's the glass? The apartment. He is protected. There's no telescreens. There's no Big Brother. They're in Prole District. Everything is safe. Okay? So you can see how that paperweight, how he's so infatuated with that piece of coral in that glass paperweight, and how he might feel like, gosh, I feel like this. I'm protected. I'm safe. Okay? And so that metaphor there will come into play later on. So keep up on that. They struggle in these couple chapters. They're getting ready for Hate Week. Not the 2 minutes hate. Hate Week. Okay? And you'll see that a whole week where they focus on hate. And you'll see what that talks about. I think that's in this weekend's homework. So you'll read that. But they struggle to find time to connect. And so there's all that frustration. So when they get together, they feel like they have to do their thing. And Winston at one point, he enjoys it and all, but he wants a little bit more. He doesn't want to always feel pressured in order to do that. Okay? He wants to, have a real relationship. Okay? These next couple pages, 141, 2, 3, it's kind of neat. It's kind of like two kids playing house. Okay? She smuggles in some contraband, like how people smuggle in stuff to jail. She brings in some coffee. Not just coffee, but inner party coffee. Not just tea, but good tea. She has some scents, lilac smell, some things to help. She paints her face. Ladies, what is that? Makeup. Good job. Good job. No. It's obvious, I think. But she paints her face. Do you think she does it delicately and nicely? No. Imagine a 4-year-old getting into mom's or dad's makeup.
What?
I have makeup. I'm an actor, so I have my stage makeup. But so if the kids get in it, they might do certain things. Now imagine just this, maybe somebody that's seizuring up or something, palsy. It's not like clown makeup. It's just all over.
Are you wearing makeup right
now? No. So clown makeup all over. It's just a mess. But yet it looks really beautiful because these party members do not wear makeup at all. Okay, so she's trying to beautify this situation, this house, and they're having a nice time. She takes off her overalls and puts on a dress. It's like, it's a big deal. So it's kind of like, this is what married life is supposed to be like. This is what life, maybe in Prole District, is semi-like. In my mind, I'm thinking this is what life would be like outside of Big Brother. Okay, and they really enjoy it. And so they get very comfortable until Winston finds an animal in the room. Did you pick up on that? Okay. These are moments that annotations, it should go ding, I should highlight, I should write something down. Anytime we find out something new, we find out a lot of new stuff about Julia in this section, right? Tons of stuff about Julia, about what she believes. She's not just the brunette in overalls. We find out much, much more about what she believes, what motivates her, what pushes her, okay? But here, we find out about Winston that he's scared of rats. Petrified of rats. Oh, a rat. I saw him stick his nose out. Oh, rats in this room? Oh, they're all over the place. Blah, 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 blah. Don't go on, said Winston with his eyes tightly shut. Dearest, you've gone quite pale. What's the matter? Do they make you feel sick? Of all the horrors in the world, a rat. Of all the horrors in the world, a rat. A couple stories. I have a cousin down in Florida. She was off the beach with her 4, 5, 6-year-old. They were splashing around in the water a couple feet deep, and this shark comes swimming right by. What does a good mother do? Get her kid out of the water, right? My cousin pushes her kid out of the way and runs to the beach. Am I a bad mom, Bob? Yes. You're horrible. You're the worst mom in the world. But think about it from her point of view. Her first thought, shark, I'm in the water, I need to get out of the water. Fear, right? Fear shuts down all reason, and she, boom, okay? We moved into a house last year, and I inherited an in-ground pool, and so that's a lot of maintenance. But I cleaned out the sifter box, you know, where the leaves and stuff. So I go into the deep end and lift up the thing, and there's a little mole or mouse or something just kind of dead, floating there, rigor mortis and all that. So I left it there, and I thought, what can I do? How can I have fun? Before I was a teacher, I worked third shift for a few years while I was going back to school to be a teacher. And I worked third shift, so I'd sleep during the day or at night. My wife would wake me up every once in a while. There's a spider downstairs. Kill it. No. She won't even go into the room, so I have to get up, go kill it. Thank you, I'm whatever. Go back to bed. So I like to surprise people. So here's another example of where fear shuts you down. Because Winston, he shuts down. He starts screaming and shrieking like something. Okay? That's more emotion than we've seen from him this entire time. If you were watching this on play or a movie, he would be so even all of the time, so paranoid, but then just shrieking and going nuts. So anyways, outside our back, the sliding doors, we have a deck. You walk down the deck, down a couple steps, and then the pool, and the deep end's over there. And that's where the sifter is. And so I said, honey, can you go get that? I have to, I don't know, maybe go to the bathroom or something. So she goes, okay. I said, I think I forgot one. Can you just check it while you close the pool down? And so she walked out, and I watched her, and she had my daughter with her. I'm like, score. It's going to get both of them. And so she opened it up, and she screamed, spun, and ran all the way around the pool, all the way up the deck, all the way in the house. And she was still doing this. I'm like, really? Wouldn't you just you scared me. But no, she ran all the way, and my daughter's traipsing after her, being left behind. So that's always a fun thing. Exactly. What's it going to do? It's not going to jump out, but just it's there, you know. So I understand it's gross, disease, dead, and all that. What's that?
What are you scared of?
I don't know. I don't think I have anything that I would shut down.
Not even a shark?
I like to scuba dive. I went to Australia. I got scuba dive certified for that. I wanted to see a shark. I didn't see a shark. So, yeah, I was a little disappointed, but it was still the Great Barrier Reef, and that was pretty cool. Anyways, back to this. He shuts down. That's something to keep an eye on. That's so much more emotion than we've ever seen of him. Anytime you have a brand new, not a brand new character, excuse me, a brand new emotion, a brand new observation of a pre-existing character, keep note of that, because that shows the evolution of that person. And we see him in a whole different light here in this particular room.